Hello and happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you so very much for tuning in to 98.3 FM The Life. You're listening to Bacon. It's with Master Happiness. Of course, I'm your host, Marty Jalove. I come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock to talk about your job, your career, your vision made clear, the skills that you hone for the business that you own, the ups and downs, the smiles and frowns, where you're at and where you're bound. If you miss any of today's episode, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness anywhere you listen to podcasts. For those of you who are new to this station or this show particularly, what I try to do is I try to go around, find some interesting guests, look to the industry best. That's my ultimate quest here, and we pick some interesting topics. Usually talking about bringing happiness back to the workplace, but you can't talk about being happy at the workplace unless, of course, you're talking also about being happy at home. There's I think a direct correlation between for myself, speaking as a man, I know I became a better father because I was a pretty good leader in work, and I definitely became a better leader in the office because I learned so much stuff from the office. So this was a topic I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time. And I said, who can I get on the show? Who would really add something to this? Who do I feel is the epitome of this? And so we're going to see if I'm right or wrong. So I want to introduce my nephew, Tim Jalove. So Tim, introduce yourself. Say hello to the world.
Hello, world.
Nice.
Wow, this is exciting. This is first radio experience.
All right. Hello.
Very exciting.
Good, good. Right out of the gate, you're exciting.
I'm
All right.
very excited.
All right. So tell us a little bit, like, who are you? Do you want people to find you on social media? Do you want to be left alone? Whatever it is.
I love being left alone. No
All right.
joking. You can find me on I'm social media, just Tim Jalove.
Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn, same thing, Tim Jalove.
Okay.
I've been with Ecolab for about 15 years now. Uh,
15 years.
yes,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Um, Working with an amazing team, which we're great to talk about leaders tonight.
Yeah.
My current leader is amazing. So learn from the best.
Yep. Yep.
So I support Gum Brands, which is the Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut
Cool.
businesses in the chemistry industry.
Okay.
And I've been born and raised in Chicago.
Yeah.
I live about in Gurnee, for about 45 minutes north of the city.
Right. Right.
Mhm. And I have an 8-year-old daughter,
Of course you do. That's why you're here.
is Brinley,
Yes. Right.
and I think she's listening. So
Is she?
hi,
Okay.
Brinley.
Hello, Brinley. All right. So now you can't embarrass yourself.
I know.
This is in front of your daughter. This is it.
Exactly.
This is your greatest cheerleader. Your
Exactly.
yeah, everything. She's going to live up to you. All right.
Yes.
All right. So getting into this. So Tim, how I always ask people this all the time. So you're a pretty avid listener of the show, aren't you?
Yes. Every Monday night.
All right. Excellent.
Between if I miss the show, I'm watching you on TikTok and I'm
Oh,
watching you on YouTube and I'm
wow.
watching on LinkedIn.
I appreciate. You know what I love most about my family, you know, is that I never know if you guys are telling the truth or not. So it's beautiful.
You got it.
And
I'm the one who's hearting everything.
yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, there you go. Perfect, perfect. So again, what the idea of the show today was about this whole idea of fatherhood and leadership. It's mastering that dual journey. Okay, understanding what it takes to be a father as well as what it takes to be a leader in there, and it's cool. Have you had the opportunity? I know you talked a little bit about your leader. Have you had the opportunity a lot to lead smaller teams? Be
Yes.
that lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell me a little something about that. What were some of the things that you found more difficult than you expected or a lot easier than you expected?
So one of the biggest, crazy things when I worked with Ecolab when I was managing operations, the field,
Yeah.
it's different when you manage inside four walls. Where I was managing a field team, I was managing like 6 up to 9 states, just territory reps. So the biggest challenge there was like managing different personalities, different time zones, different areas, and
Right.
just trying to figure out what worked best for each individual team member on the team. And let me tell you, everyone's different, right? So you had to sort of had to take your time and figure out which worked best for whom,
Okay.
that type of way.
All right. I like that. Now I'm going to throw the question at you on the flip side. Okay. Because you're a father of one, right? And I tell you, you must be doing something right because Brinley is absolutely adorable. She is like a little adult. Okay.
Don't tell her that. Now she's listening, Marty. She's
Exactly.
listening.
All right. So let me ask you this. So you said she's 8 years old, right?
Yes.
All right. So in the 8 years here, what are some of the things as far as fatherhood that you were like, "Oh, this is much easier than I thought," and maybe something that you thought, "This is a lot more difficult than I thought?" And I know I'm making you think. After I
I
promised you I wouldn't put you on the
I know.
spot.
I think the hardest thing is I'm gonna go with that one first. I guess the hardest
Yeah.
thing is the disciplining.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's probably the hardest, is because I want to be her friend, and I want, want her to still
Yes.
love me. But I'm like, I know that she's gonna love me regardless if I discipline her
Right,
or if I
right.
correct her. Um, I think that's always been the hardest for me, is really finding that happy medium as to where, okay, these are the rules. This, you have to
Right.
do this. And, I just had an issue. I had to take away her iPad yesterday, and
Okay.
she was not happy about
I'm
that.
sure. I'm sure.
And I said, "Nope, iPad, done. You're taking an iPad. You're done with it. You've had it all day. You're done." And you know, about 10 minutes later, she's like, "Can I have it back?" And I'm like, "No, no, we're done
Good.
for the
That's
day."
the hardest part
So
is
sticking with
yeah,
it, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
sticking with it. So I think that's been the hardest. But I think the easiest thing with being a father is um, taking parts of with being a leader. I'm very organized,
Okay.
um, and really laying out like the day's agenda, like pretty much what we do on a daily basis, like get up in the morning, make a lunch, get her to school, pick her up, do homework, do I ready, you know, having a schedule, making sure that we follow that as close as we can, and really trying to hold true to that on a daily basis, trying to keep some kind of structure to her day.
All right.
I think
I like it a lot. And like I said, I can see that. I think it's cool because I don't get to see Brinley that often, right? But when I do see her, for some reason she remembers me. And I'll tell you, it's and like I said, even if she doesn't, and then she's a great liar, but I love that about her because she comes up to me. The last time we talked, it was great. We were talking a little bit, and then I showed her my watch with a little picture of the pig, the pink pig.
Mhm.
And I said, "See, you have that book?" She goes, "Yeah, I know I have that book." And I
Oh,
was like, "I'm the author." And she goes, "What?
yeah.
What?" And she's like, "I know an author. My uncle, I have a famous
Yep.
uncle." I'm like, "Yes,
I have
you're
an author uncle.
right, right." And he's famous,
And
right?
she told, and we were driving home, I think
Yeah.
it was from, Katie's house
Yeah.
over the summer. We were driving home and she started talking about it.
Nice,
She's like, "You
nice.
know you know that guy with the crazy shirts, the shirt with the pigs?
Yeah.
He's an author. Like, he wrote that book." I'm like, "I
Yeah,
know,
I know.
I know." And then I held up the other book. I'm like, "He wrote this one too."
Nice, nice. Excellent. So, anyway, so she's adorable. We could do an entire show just about her,
Absolutely.
but we're gonna stray away to
Yes.
something else. All right. So before we get into this, is some of the things I when I'm writing some notes, and I want you to comment on this a little bit, what you think about this, is how fatherhood makes me a better leader. And I looked at this kind of stuff of number one is radical patience. Okay. I'm always going to be more patient with my children than the people I work with. All right. And so as a father, it teaches me to be a little bit more patient because those people who work for me are people too. Right. So that's number one, deep empathy with them, understanding they're people, they have problems, they have issues that are going on, and sometimes they can't help but bring it to work. All right. And this is, again, all what I learned from fatherhood to make me a better leader. And then the other thing is really clear communication. I was working with a group today about, I was doing some sales training with a group, and they were like, "Yeah, I can't believe it. We say this." And then the people go, "I never heard that," right? Even if you showed them like the transcripts or something like that. And I was like, "Yes, because there's a difference. And it's four steps that I use all the time. And that is what I meant, what I said, what you heard, and how you felt." Okay.
Love it.
Because what I meant, what I'm thinking in my head, does not always come out with what I say. Right. And then what I said is not always what you heard. And the thing that I was trying to get across to you, what you heard,
Yep.
might make you feel completely different than I thought. I might be trying to inspire you, and in fact, it's
E
the complete opposite.
opposite,
Right,
exactly.
right. So I think it's really important that clear communication as a father, understanding I have to talk at that, like when my kids were young, it was I had to talk at the 2-year-old level, the
Mhm.
3-year-old level. It We grew together with communication and with leadership. You expect these other adults just to be able to understand everything you're saying, and that doesn't work.
100%.
Okay. So what do you think about this radical patience, deep empathy, and clear communication? Any comments on
I
that? Any
I really
observations?
look, I'm a firm believer in, and you can ask my team, I'm a big firm believer in communication,
Yeah.
clear communication. I over communicate, and really as a father. really trying to, like you said earlier, really as speak to her as a 2-year-old or speak to her as an 8-year-old.
Yeah,
With Brinley, like, even as now is like, yeah, I talk to her as an 8-year-old, but I try to, let's bring up the conversation a little bit.
I
Let's
agree.
talk to her as an adult
Yeah.
because, I think that's ultimately that's where she's headed.
Yep.
Let's not continue to talk to her as a child. Let's treat her as an adult to a certain point.
Certainly.
But then also with the communication piece, holding accountability with the open communication on the leader side too, with coworkers and with direct reports, having that open communication. And like I said, my team would know would firm believer that I'm a huge advocate for communication all the time, open communication, 100%.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting because you touched on something about talking to your child as an adult, and I like how you throw in to an extent, obviously.
Yeah,
Uh, I never taught my kids baby talk. I always was bothered by people like who are like the goo goo gaga,
yeah,
that kind of stuff. And I was like, why are you teaching the child a language that later on you're going to say, now forget all of that. Here's a brand new language.
yeah,
Why not just talk as an adult? And I remember when I used to do this, I would get my aunt, my mom going, oh my God, she's a baby. Don't talk to her like that. I'm like, of course I'm going to talk to her like that.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
this is English. This is how we all speak. So what does goo goo gaga mean?
Right.
Right, right?
Hmm.
Do you want to No, I just never liked doing that.
Yep.
And so with Brinley, did you ever do baby talk or
If we did, is very rare, but I will say one thing that we did when she was a baby,
yeah,
uh, like, as we were to put her to bed, we would read her books, and it would
nice.
be not so much like a age-appropriate book,
Yeah,
like, for, like, an infant. I mean, it would be like Bernstein Bears, or it would be
yeah,
like a more of a meatier book, right?
right, right.
And I really think that's helped with her in her education and just her comprehension of reading, where I think, with you said would speak to the child at their level or above
Yeah,
versus speaking in that baby goo goo gaga type
right, right.
situation. I think that helps with building a better form of communication with the child. And I think do I like there's times where I do regret it because I think she's definitely more like she loves to talk. She's definitely more of a conversationalist.
Yes,
But where I think there are children out there that don't have a
exactly.
very good grasp of conversation and they're clear of it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I
that's
think,
too bad. Yeah,
having that time where we had the ability to just go through and, read more of a like I said, a more of an in-depth book to her, I think that helped with the development and everything. So, yeah, I think definitely going that route has helped quite a bit.
excellent, excellent. So 2 things, I wanna jump on that, what you just said, but also I wanna make sure stay closer to the mic because occasionally you drift off and it
Okay.
disappears. Yeah, that's all right. Otherwise, this is all golden. All right, the thing about books is I just heard somebody say this, when you look at the shape of a book, it's a door. It opens like a door, and when you think about it, every time you read, it's a doorway to something else, whether it's a doorway to more knowledge or a doorway to an adventure, right? And so I just really love that when you sit there and that
Alright, did you
is
come up with that? Or
I
you
did not, I heard someone else say
then you
that.
should own that,
Yeah,
and you could
exactly.
I would have believed you.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
I
like that.
know.
That's
That's
awesome.
beautiful. It's
Uh,
beautiful. Of course, they didn't go into as detailed as I am
yeah.
because I really just like that idea. And what if I'm gonna have a regret as a father was I didn't do enough of what you're talking about. I got to a certain point in time when my kids got to an age where I'm like, I'm not gonna read to them anymore. You wanna read, read to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it was kinda like I know it sounds terrible. Everyone's like, "Oh, good for you, master happiness," right? Okay. But it was like I wasn't a big reader, and as they got older, the types of books you wanna read to them are different, and it
Right.
was kind of like, I'm not that reader, and I remember at one point, Katie, my daughter, was in high school, and Luke was in elementary school, and Katie was like, "Dad, you should start reading more. I've been reading these books, they're fantastic, you should read more." I'm like, "Oh, boy," right? And, it so happened that she had to read, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in high school, and Luke was reading Frankenstein in elementary school, like a coincidence, right? So they're like, "We have to go and get the book, and you should get a copy too, and all 3 of us are gonna read it," right?
Boy.
So right, exactly. So I was like, Frankenstein, not a bad read. That sounds interesting." So we went to the bookstore and stuff, and we're looking, found the one that she had to read, which I'm like, "I'm not reading that. That's too many pages." And I was asking the woman, "I want Frankenstein, the pop-up book." All right, that's the one I want
Like,
to
where's
read.
the VHS or DVD section?
Exactly. Right, exactly. So we ended up I ended up reading the one that Luke read.
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
Luke and I read that one, got the whole gist of it, and so it was cool. But then since then, they both read, but they're not in love with books, and I think that's directly my fault. So, but this is also the reason I think now I try to really write books because I'm not a great reader, but I do want to read, to study, to learn, and then put it back out there.
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that, I'm looking at the time. You know what? We got plenty of time. But what ends up happening with the show, we start and it always seems like, oh, are we going to fill an hour? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and we have 15 minutes left. So, all right. So, the next thing I want to talk about is a little bit about how leadership makes us a better, like the things we learn from leadership, how it makes us a better dad. All right. And the three things I've got here is number one is casting a family vision. Okay. So as a leader, I know I have to cast a vision out there to say, this is the reason we're here. Do we do that enough as a father figure? Do I teach my kids not my vision, but help them encourage them to find their own vision. So that's something important. Coaching over controlling. Okay, as a leader, all right. There's a difference between me being a coach versus a task giver, right? Saying I don't want your input, just do these tasks, do this, do this, do this. Be quiet. So, as a successful leader, I have found more to say. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to tell you this is our vision, this is the direction we have to go in. How do you how do you see it this working? How would you do this? And I try to get some input like that, make the people feel part of it. And it's the same to a point with the kids,
Yep.
And then lastly is time management and prior how to prioritize. And I think that's really important for kids to learn as well. And you can't run a business. You certainly can't lead a team unless you have a little time management behind it.
Absolutely.
So what do you think of this? The vision, the coaching over controlling, or time management. How do you figure that? Like you've learned from leaders, you did it yourself, and has any of that helped you influence the way you raise your daughter?
Oh, 100%. I definitely think the time management piece, and I think I mentioned it earlier, is
Yeah,
just really, um, having a schedule, and expecting sure that schedule is not always gonna be met,
right.
but at least have something down to where with my current role and past roles where, we had a certain amount of calls that we had to hit and service calls and
Sure.
we had to meet so many customers. So there was a schedule that, we had to train and we had to develop and really lead a team in order to achieve
Yeah.
that goal. And so I really took a lot of that, between a quarter or an annual or semi-annual visit and try to really work that into, with as a father, trying to build that schedule, like what works for our schedule, like what works for Brinley's schedule. If it,
Right.
like I said, we're school in the morning. What time does she get up in the morning? She's a sleeper, so she doesn't take the bus. So I'm the
Gotcha.
bus driver.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I drive her and pick her up, when I'm not
Cool.
traveling. So, but it's one of those things like we'll just work around and build that schedule out that works best for her to be successful.
Yeah.
And that was really where, as a leader, what schedule is going to be best to make you successful.
I like it.
And so I try to sort of lean and pull that into every day with as a father is try what's going to be the best for you to be just make your day successful.
Now, let me ask you: do you ever talk to her and help and have her involved in making the schedule?
Are you kidding, Marty? Are you kidding? She's 8, and nothing's ever
I,
gonna get done.
no,
It's gonna be like 8 it's
yeah.
gonna be iPad from
Right. Right.
from
Right.
the
Exactly.
moment I
Right.
wake
Right.
up
Yeah.
to the moment I go to sleep. No,
Yeah.
I think there's times where I think, when she's got dance on Saturday morning,
Yeah.
so I think, Friday where it's like Friday night, like, she'll come in, like, "Do I have dance?"
Yeah.
Yes, you have dance on
Right.
you have
Right.
dance
Right. Yeah.
every
Right.
Saturday.
Right.
So it's like, it's your schedule, like, that's
Nice.
and she's got piano on Friday after
Okay.
school, so she has an idea of, like, what her schedule
Gotcha.
look, and it's not a jam-packed schedule, she's 8. So it's like
Yeah.
she's got school and she's got piano and she's got dance, so she's got these, you know, activities and she's got an idea of what's going on,
Right.
but I think she questions it thinking that the schedule's gonna change, and it's not.
Exactly. Right.
Like,
Right.
she's
Right.
waiting for me
Yeah.
like, "No, we're gonna sleep in
Yeah.
tomorrow. It's Saturday.
Yes.
We can sleep in. We're gonna skip dance."
Right. Right. Right.
So I think she tries to push the envelope a little bit, but I
Gotcha.
think that's not happening.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. You got to tell her instead of sleeping in, how about we go to bed at 2 hours earlier?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first day back from spring break 'cause she was on spring break last week, and last night, I'm like, it was 7:30. I'm like, all right, time for bed.
Right, right, right.
Gotta go to bed.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure that was easy.
She's like, "Oh, I'm going to bed at 8:30." I'm like, "No, because 8:30 turns to like 9.
Yeah,
No, no, no,
exactly.
we're going to
Right.
bed now."
Nice, nice. So here is something that I was thinking about. I can't take credit for the book thing, but this is something that while working on the notes for this show, I came up with that I said this really makes a lot of sense to me. Is when you're a father and you're raising your child, one of the things you're doing is you're saying at some point in time, I'm going to let her go. She's going to be on her own. I have got to make sure she's prepared for what happens after me, right? I still want to obviously connect with her as long as I can in that, but is she prepared for the next step? And I'll tell you, I started when I'm coaching businesses, I started doing this whole thing with the employees, and I come straight out and saying, the chances of you working here forever are slim. Okay. So what I do want to do is I want you to continue to learn something here on a regular basis to help you with your next job, your next career move. It's important that we talk realistically. Okay. If you decide to stay here and I decide to keep you here for longer, fantastic.
Yeah.
But let's also be honest that there is life after this company for many of the employees, right? And so it's important for me to put the scenario together so that they can continue to learn things. And I always say it's so that leaving here is one of the most difficult decisions they ever have to make. And if
Yep.
they do leave here, I want them to look back and go, those weren't wasted years. I continued to learn. Okay. So I like the idea. Would you ever think about that during an interview process, during the, hey, by the way, we're offering you the job? Would you feel comfortable telling people, that scenario. We understand you're not gonna be here forever, or you might not be here forever.
I think yes and no.
Okay.
Because as a past hiring manager,
Yeah.
my goal is to ultimately to build that pipeline, to build the succession plan. Because I'm not gonna be in my role,
Right.
so I'm gonna be moving up, so I always wanna try to build my pipeline to where who's gonna take on my role when I move on.
Right, right.
So maybe not so much leaving the company, but maybe leaving the role or
I like that.
division.
I like that a lot.
I would more lean it towards that way.
Okay.
Because I'm a diehard Ecolab. I bleed blue. Like I mean, I'm never gonna leave. I
Okay.
mean, so it's like everyone's like, "Oh, you should go to another division." Nope, I'm staying with QSR. Like
Nice.
this is my home. This is my family. This is where I'm staying. So to that point, I think yes, I think it's a good conversation. But to your point too, though, is like definitely you're not going to hold somebody back from moving
Right.
on, right?
Right,
Like,
right,
and as a past hiring manager and leader too, like I'm never going to keep you from moving on.
right.
I don't want to ever keep that from you. I'm going to be there to help support and move you on and give you the tools to help you gain to get to the next level,
I love it.
wherever you want to go.
Right,
If
right.
it be a different division, if it be a different role, I'm going to be there to help you and give you the tools or connect you with the people who can help you. And I think that's always been my ultimate thing. I mean, I'm a mentor for a couple of territory reps
Nice.
with our division, and I've connected them with other divisions within our Ecolab as well,
Yeah,
but also really working through, finding out what they want.
yeah, yeah.
Look, when I first started with Ecolab, it was definitely an entry level position. It was a service sales job,
Right, right.
and you go into that role, and you upward mobility is what you want. And I think having a leader that was going to help get you to that next level. And I did. I've always had a manager that always helped. I shouldn't say always. There was one that I didn't, but that's a topic for another
That's right.
discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
But I always had someone. I always be my cheerleader to help get me to that next level,
Nice.
help move me forward, and keep me on track.
Awesome.
And when I were to divert, they'd pull me back and be like, "Snap out of it, get back where you were," that
Yeah,
type of thing. And I think that's always been one of the things that I've loved about Ecolab in general and the organization that I work for.
nice, nice. So, we're almost at the bottom of the hour, so I got one more thought I'm gonna throw you, and then we're gonna, play a couple of messages. We'll take a little break. And that is this, is I like telling people the reason I was getting into this whole thing, there was a survey done that most people, this past generation, stay at a job for about 2.83 years. So under
Mhm.
3 years, right? And then they jump. Now, it could be that they move to a different department. It could
Yep.
be they're promoted, etc. So I like that you brought that up. So what I like to do is I like to tell them, going, look, according to the average, you're going to be here about 3 years, okay? And you might move to another department, you might leave here, etc. Whatever. And I go, but let's make a promise with each other for 3 years. Why don't we do something amazing together? Why don't we do something groundbreaking, something so remarkable, something so different that you are so you're everyone remembers you, right?
Yes.
And you look back at these 3 years and say, I did this. You have something incredible to put on your memory, a reason to leave, a reason to leap frog forward, right?
100%.
And then and say, I know that within that time, you and I were working closer and closer to do something amazing. Chances are we might say, let's do this again. Let's do it in the next set of 3 years and the
Exactly.
next set.
Mhm.
And when you think about this from the employee standpoint, tremendous, man. I have a mentor, someone who wants to work with me to make me do something incredible. And from the company standpoint, we have people who are really working hard to do amazing things. So it is such a win, okay, with just that touch of reality going, like everything in life, it has an end. And
Yep.
sometimes we don't know when that end is. Okay.
100%.
All right. So we're going to take a momentary break. We're going to hear about a couple of the other shows on the station, and then we will be right back. If you're tuned in, this is again Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. I'm here with Tim Jalove, the famous Tim Jalove, and we're talking about fatherhood and leadership, how there's a dual journey here. So please stay tuned. Hey, and we're back. Thank you so very much for staying tuned in to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. I'm your host, Marty Jalove. Come at you every Monday night at 7. And of course, you can listen to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just look for Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. So I'm here with an exciting guest, my nephew, Tim Jalove. And we're talking about how fatherhood helps us become a better leader and leadership helps us become a better father. So, Tim, in the break there, you were saying something about you wanted to do a shout out. You want to do a shout out to anybody? Go
Yeah.
right ahead.
Yeah. I just want to do a quick shout out to my brothers.
Yeah. Great guys.
Great guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim and Ben.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are listening. Huge
Nice.
shout out.
All right. Beautiful. All right. Got to love brothers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, back to this, what we're talking about. So this was such an exciting first half of the show. That I forgot to mention the bacon part of it, right? And so the reason the show is called Bacon Bits is because bacon's one of those magical things that anything bacon touches just instantly becomes just a little bit better, right? And so what I said was, let's name the show Bacon Bits because I always ask people, what's your bacon? What's your driving force? What are the things you're looking forward to tomorrow so much that you almost can't sleep? Like we talked about Brinley going, oh, I have dance tomorrow, so I can't go to sleep. I'm going to stay up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your bacon? What's that thing inside you? This is what I'm always trying to drive home. So of course, I can't have a show all about tasting bacon because we're on the radio and nobody can taste it. So this show is about bacon, but we're not talking about the bacon for chewing.
We're talking about the bacon for doing.
Nice. Well done, Tim. Perfect. Not every guest knows that one. So I'm glad that you know that. That shows that you listen to the show. All right. So what we do is we use a bacon, BACON. It's a loose outline for the show. Normally I introduce it a little earlier, but we got carried away with being dads and how much we love what we do for a living. So what we're going to talk about this is the 5-step framework that on how to master both sides, fatherhood and leadership. All right. And so I'm going to hear your kind of points on this as we go through. I'm going to name all 5 of them, and then we'll go back to the beginning. So B is boundaries. It's really important, whether you're a leader, father, et cetera, to set boundaries. And I think you touched upon it when you were like, I treat my daughter like an adult to an extent. We have to set boundaries. A is accountability. Oh, and I got some great Luke story about accountability there. All right. C is compassion. And compassion is more than empathy, it is more than sympathy. Compassion is actually acting upon the way you feel, right? O is observation. Man, as a team leader and especially as a father, we've always got to be watching everything, right? And then N, of course, is going to be nurture. All right. It's up to us as a leader to continue to build our team as well. And as a father, without a doubt, we can't just leave them alone. Okay. So let's just jump back to the B for boundaries. When I look at this, boundaries at work are things like this. This is when I leave the office. This is when you leave the office. We have to have some boundaries because we want our people to understand that there should be a life and work balance, right? And so certain times we have to say, based on our jobs, I mean, I'm answering the phone like all the time, 7 days a week. I'm picking up the phone, but I do turn my phone off sometimes and just say, this is my alone time. Maybe this is my time with my wife, with my kids, etc. So I have learned how to do that. At home, there might be a time that you alluded to earlier. This is a tech-free time, right? Turn off the iPad, turn off everything. We're gonna talk. We're gonna color. We're gonna paint. We're gonna
Mhm.
do whatever, right? And it's important that we teach our employees that as well as we have to teach our kids that. Okay. So, how do you, Tim, whether it's with coworkers or with Brinley, how do you enforce boundaries?
So I would say this is probably the one that I probably struggle with the
Okay,
most,
sure.
because I work from home. So leaving the office is pretty much stepping out of my office,
Yeah, yeah.
into my kitchen. I think that's where, I struggle the most is just really turning it off. I do, talk about turning off your phone. I have 2 phones. I have a work phone and
Yeah.
a personal phone, or as my coworkers refer to it as the bat phone.
Nice.
Um, so I try to, um, really try very hard to turn it off at a certain point. I've gotten a lot better over the years where, okay, it is 7 o'clock, it's done,
Right.
whatever's we're done for the day.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
I'm a very I like what I said earlier too. It's like I have a goal in mind where, okay, I need to get my inbox down to a certain number every night, every day. Like I can't leave the office or can't leave the day until it's down to this number. I've now gone to the point where it's like, it's never gonna get to that point anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to get to that number. So I gotta learn to turn it off. And again, I think too with, as a leader, having those boundaries and allowing and training and talking through those boundaries with your direct reports or your
Right.
coworkers as well, having those like I'm on a group chat with my coworkers, um, my team, and it's a great chat. Yeah, we talk work, but on the weekends, we talk about everything. It's just
Yeah.
family. We talk about sports. We talk about Lego. We talk about everything. So it's really turning it off to where, um, trying very hard to those boundaries. Leaving work at work.
Right.
With the industry that I'm part of, it's they don't sleep. It's, QSR, quick service restaurants. They're 24/7.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Right.
it is I have customers that do reach out over the weekend, that do call,
Sure.
24/7. So being there for them when they need it, it's difficult at times to have those boundaries because you wanna make sure you're there for your customer.
Right, right. And so, I know that for me, I probably failed a lot at boundaries being a young father there because there was times that I was like, I want to grow. I
Yep,
need to evolve. And sometimes it would be that whole, I'd put my kids in second place.
yep.
All right.
I
And
think sorry to cut you off,
yeah,
but
go
I
ahead. Go
think
ahead.
with the boundaries too, and I think in my mind is that I tend to, I would say, I don't say I take on too much, but I do I do try to be involved. Like I'm the PTO president of my
Okay.
daughter's
Wow.
school.
Good for you.
So I went when she was a kindergartner. I went to the first PTO meeting. Both my mother and mother-in-law said, "Show up, shut up, sit on your hands, don't volunteer."
Yeah.
This was in August, and by October, I was the PTO
Of
president. So,
course. Of course.
um, I think with like my boundaries that as much time as I spend with work, I try to like reallocate some of that stuff and really dive
Yeah.
into other aspects of my stuff with my daughter
Gotcha.
and sort
I
of
like
like
that.
compensate for if I'm not there for something, I try to make up for it elsewhere.
Okay.
So maybe not so much in a box situation boundary wise,
Yeah.
but really trying to, allow and give Brinley everything I can when I can, and do that. Because I think she has a good understanding of what my job is and when I travel and what that looks like. But I think knowing when I'm home, I'm there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and trying to really very hard trying to be be present at that
Nice,
point.
nice. Wow, that's well said. I agree, and trust me, I've seen you interact with your daughter, and you could see that that's happening. It's not that she goes, yeah, and that's the guy who's married to mom. No,
Yeah.
no, she knows who you are. All right. So I want to get through this because we want to make sure we hit all of this. So accountability, and this is what I wanted to talk about, was this idea that at work I've always been the type of person who is going to praise my team in public and then become accountable for the mistakes because I can't blame one of my people for a mistake because that if I'm the lead, then I have to take some responsibility for that. Okay. And I don't remember what the deal was here, what we were actually talking about, but this is so important is at home being able to apologize to your child, right? And you know my kids, Luke and Katie. And so imagine Luke is a little kid and he did something, we did something, whatever it was, and I yelled at him, right? And I was like, "I can't believe you're acting that way, blah, 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 blah." And he just stared at me like really quiet. I'm like, "Well, do you have something to say?" And he goes, "I think you're overreacting." Right? And he
That
goes,
tracks.
"Yeah, exactly." Right? And he goes, I admit I made a mistake, but it was a mistake." Right? And I was like, inside, I was still furious. Right? And I was like, "I'll be back." Right? I had to leave, calm down, and go, "My God, he was so right." And I had to come back to him and say, "Hey, Luke, I want to apologize to you. You're absolutely right. I shouldn't have done that. This is a learning experience. So I
Yeah,
should have encouraged you instead of just yelling at you like this. And thank you." And I would tell him, you just talking to me like that makes me a better father. And so I've always encouraged my kids to, hey, if I'm doing something wrong, tell me I'm doing something wrong, right? And if I bark at you back like that, say, okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. In other words, let's have some cool off time because I'm human.
yeah,
I'm going to lose my cool. And I found myself as a leader, whether it's being a father or a team leader for people at work. I found myself sometimes, if my vision wasn't being seen as exactly as I thought, I would tend to lose my cool,
yeah,
right? And so I would raise my voice to my employees or my team members. I would raise my voice at my kids. Okay. And so over time, being able to identify that has been a really big thing for me. And so I encourage you and anyone else, whether you're a team leader, a father, a mom, or whatever, take some accountability because if my kid is making mistakes, remember, I'm the parent. I'm the one that could be that they learned those mistakes from me,
100%.
right? Your kid starts swearing. You got to wonder where they heard that, right? That you're about to swear.
I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah.
42 minutes in, I haven't cussed. So
Yes,
this, oh,
exactly. Trust me. There's the over and under on that is crazy. All right. So accountability. Anything you want to share on that? Like,
the accountability, it's funny you should say, my current manager, Scott, is, you talk about like if I've done something or if I'm doing something wrong, tell me.
yeah.
He's amazing at where he's always asking for feedback.
Okay.
And I always tell him, like, "Scott, you know me, like, if you're doing something wrong, you should know me by now that I'm gonna tell you you're doing something wrong. Or if
Right.
I don't
Right.
like what you're doing, I'm gonna tell you. Like, you
Nice.
should know me by now.
Good.
Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you." Like, that's the relationship that working relationship I have with him.
Incredible that it gave you that much courage.
And,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable enough to come to you, just like I'm comfortable enough I want you to come to me when I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And to be able to have that accountability for each other, I think is what makes us successful with our team.
Gotcha, gotcha. I like it. So, just because I want to make sure we cover all of this, compassion. I just want to kind of go over this really quickly. So, compassion is that idea as a team leader. I want to be able to recognize burnout, right? I want to be able to see that my people are people, and
Mhm,
sometimes they have great days, and sometimes they have lousy days, and it's my job to make sure I can capitalize on the great days, but also help them maybe turn around or ride the storm of a bad day.
100%.
And as at home, I really want to validate emotions with my kids. I can't overlook them and go, "Oh my God, you're whining again." It can't be that. I have to validate because something is really bothering them. And a problem for an 8-year old seems minuscule to us as adults, but it's her entire world, right? And we have to keep reminding ourselves of that, right? So I wanted to get just through compassion because I want to get into observation, because I want to go do the O and the N right away before we run out of time. Is this idea that as a leader, like I love how you were talking about how you are always there. Like when you're home, you're at home. She knows you're at home, right? We have to keep watching them because it's so easy for them to lose track, whether it's an employee or it's my child. For them to go down the wrong path. Everybody, kids especially, are looking for a way or a reason to rebel, to test the waters, to see how can I be my own person, right?
100%.
And employees tend to do that too, but for a slightly different reason. They're like, well, Tim told us to do it this way, but I'm going to try it this way because I want to prove myself and maybe stand out. This is my direction towards a promotion. So, do you have any stories or anything like that that you can think about that you observed behavior and you're like, wow, I'm glad I really caught that? Anything like that on observation, or if you want, really go back to compassion.
No, I think with observation, I think I love with Brindley really watching when I know she's doing something
Yeah,
wrong, when she
yeah,
knows she's doing something wrong,
yeah,
or
yeah.
when she's going downstairs or something, we're getting ready to do dinner or something, and she's going down there to grab a snack, and I'm
Right.
like, I'm making dinner in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or I'm in my office and I like I have a direct eye line to the pantry and
Yeah.
I see her grabbing something. I'm like, really, I'm making dinner in like
Can
5 minutes
can
here.
you
Like,
wait?
can you give me 5 minutes?
Right, right.
But really just the really like understanding observing what they're doing and being, I think that's what it's all about being a parent is really being observant of your child and being present with your child
I agree.
to be
Yeah.
successful. You just can't call it in. You can't be a call it in parent. I
No.
know I know there are parents that have worked multiple jobs that may not have the time to be with their kid all that time all that as much as they want, but do what you can to be there for your child as much as you possibly can because this is when they need you the most.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is what that development point in their life, and this is what these are the people that are gonna be running our country. These are the kids
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
gonna grow up and be adults, and it's like, you just wanna give them give them the tools, to be successful.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just I think with Brindley, I think she knows, uh, what to push, what buttons to push, and
Of
and that
course.
type of thing, like you said earlier, but, um
But that's part of growing. Yeah, yeah,
100%. I
yeah.
think again, it's like she knows what buttons to push and how far she can push it,
Yeah.
and then she backs off, so
Gotcha, gotcha. So, I was gonna say this whole thing of, here's a great test is and you do it with employees and you do it with your children, is you walk up to them and saying, "You and I, have to talk. I have something to say." And you turn around and walk away, all right? What do you think is going through that person's mind? Are they afraid or are they excited?
Oh, I'm
Okay.
I'm freaking out.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm freaking out.
right.
I'm telling you, like my boss will send a meeting request at
Uh-huh.
like a 15-minute meeting request on a
Right, right.
random day. I'm like, what
Yeah.
is this? I'll call him up, like, what is this for? He's like, I'll talk to you later. I'm like, I'm here now.
You
Let's just
need to
talk
know.
now.
You
Let's just
need
let's
right,
talk
right.
now. And like
Okay,
he knows. It's like, okay,
okay.
let's just talk now.
Okay, but isn't it
Yeah.
is it so it's interesting because
Uh-huh.
it's a great way to, dissect ourselves. Now
Absolutely.
when if you said that to Brinley, if you walked up to her one day and going, "Brinley, you and I, we have to talk," and you turned around and walked away, what do you think she'd be, thinking?
Well, it depends if she's got her iPad. She'd probably be like, okay, and she'd
Yeah,
go back to her
whatever.
iPad.
Right, exactly, call me when you're ready.
Call me
Yeah,
when you're ready.
right.
Uh, no, I think she'd probably be like wondering what did she do wrong,
Yeah,
or like what did I do, or she'll probably like start going through like her mind, like oh I didn't leave, didn't pick up my toys,
I
or
think
didn't
I
put the dishes away.
right, 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 nice. I think that the thing is most people would do that. They'd second guess themselves on what did I do wrong or how did he know that I did that?
Yeah,
That type of thing. And wouldn't it be better if we could create that relationship? And I don't know how to do this. Create the relationship that the answer is always, "We're gonna talk? Okay, I'm excited.
yeah.
Like this is only good to come of this." Right?
Maybe it's the way you have
Oh,
to say it. Like
yeah,
we're
exactly.
gonna talk.
Oh, well,
We're
right,
gonna
right.
talk later,
Yeah, yeah. But
and then walk
you
away.
gotta keep it as non-emotional
Yeah,
so that they don't know. But you're right. If there's no emotion, then it's like it's gotta be a bad thing. Because if he
exactly,
was happy, he'd be smiling.
exactly.
Right? Right. Okay. So with that, we're gonna get into observation. I wanted to flip this around before we get to nurture. Uh, and that is we've been talking about how we as parents and we as team leaders are always observing. I think it's also important to understand that those team members and our children are always watching us. And I was discussing it with somebody and they said, think of this. You're driving the car, right? And your daughter's in the car seat in the back seat, right? You're driving and you're speeding. You're going past the speed limit, right? So she's watching that. Then the sirens come on, right? You get pulled over, the cop pulls you over, and you start lying to the cop, right? Saying anything you can think of to avoid the ticket. And then the cop gives you the ticket anyway. The cop leaves, you roll up the window and you start cursing out the cop. I can't believe he's got nothing better to do other than stop, right? And you think about that. Those were three things that she watched. One, it's okay to break the law because you're speeding. There's a speed limit. You broke the law. Second, It's okay to lie to a police officer.
Uh-huh.
It's okay to lie to an authority figure. And then third, it's okay to badmouth someone behind their back.
Parent of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Right, right. Yeah, I love it. I love it. But when you think about it, the way I described it, if the kid wasn't in the back seat, it sounds like, yeah, it's any other day of the week, right? You would do that. And suddenly you realize I am one of the she's one of the most impressionable people in the world, and she is mimicking and mirroring me as often as possible. And so don't I want to put forth a better, impression for her? And
Absolutely.
it's not just the kids, it's my workers
It's
as
every
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into nurture. And nurture is this whole thing. It's obvious. It's up to me, just like I was explaining about how they're observing. It's up to me to help nurture them in down the right path. Okay. A buddy of mine told me this quote, and I love the quote. And he tells me so many different things, right? And I'm always like, "Oh my God, you keep repeating yourself," right? He's a good friend of mine. But this one, this one quote is the one that holds true, and I wrote it down here. Is our job as a parent is to prepare our children for the path, not to prepare the path for the child. Okay. And I absolutely love that. And I think it's the same thing with employees. When I give an employee a project and they sit there going, okay, I'm going to do this. Did you want me to do this in Excel? Yes, do it in Excel. Okay. Which is the Excel button? That's the Excel button. Okay. Do you have a pencil I could use? Here's a pencil. Like, in other words, I am not preparing everything for you. I'm giving you the goal,
Yep,
right? And I need to encourage you. And if you don't know how to use Excel, fine, I'll set you up for a tutorial and you can learn it this way. But I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to prepare the world to make your life easier, because life isn't that way. And especially with children, we have to learn to prepare them for the path, not because we're not going to be there all the time to fix the path for them,
100%.
right? So I'm going to throw it back to you, because I know, again, this is what you were saying. This is one of the hardest things for you to do.
Well, it's funny you should say that. Like with we were just at school, and the art teacher was talking about how she had a class, and she told them they were getting ready to do a project,
Yeah.
and she said, "Okay, just get a piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to start, drawing." And the kids just sat there, did not knew like what to do, and she's like, "Come up to my desk and get the
Oh,
pen
wow.
and the piece of
It's
and it's we
huh.
we're in that where it's like, welcome back to my channel type thing, and
Yeah.
it's like they want everything shown to them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's I like that quote about like that, you know, show them the path,
Right. Right. Don't
don't
prepare the
prepare
path for
path
them.
for
Right.
them,
Right.
and I think that's a great quote
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
and that works everywhere, and I
Yes.
think, honestly, I feel like that is definitely something that I'm gonna take back from today's show
Yeah.
is that because I think knowing sure, that's the easy way out. I could prepare the path for you, but then what are you gonna learn from it?
Right. Right. Right.
No one prepared the path for me, and I'm where I'm at today because, someone showed me the path. I got to that path,
Yeah.
and I walked that path.
Right.
But I'm gonna get you to that path, but I'm not gonna prepare it for you. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's great. I mean, got chills, Marty, got
Yeah.
chills.
Oh, good.
That's
Good.
good.
Well, I also like the idea, throwing the other line, is let them choose their own path.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, don't do this because I did this.
right.
Okay. And I'm going to stand behind you. So if you fall backwards, I'm going to catch you.
Absolutely.
But I'm also not going to just pick you up when you fall. I'm going to
100%.
pause and watch you. Okay. And it's really tough sometimes as a dad. You watch your kid fall and they're crying. You have to stop a little bit, pause and go, you can handle this on your own. This is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Okay. That to me was always the hardest thing as a dad, to pull that off. Okay.
I struggle with that.
Yeah. I'm sure you do,
I
because you're
just
human.
yeah, I mean, because I don't want her to ever struggle. I want her to just have everything,
Right.
and, if she stumbles and falls, like you said, you're gonna be there to pick her up, and, I mean, I don't want her to stumble or fall ever,
Right.
and
Right.
so, like, I wanna make sure that never happens.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely, yeah, uh,
So,
proud helicopter parent,
yeah,
I
there you
guess.
go. There you go. I like that. All right. So we got only a couple more minutes left. So the hour went very, very quick. I love this episode. This has been very good. I liked your insights on this and everything. So I got one last question for you. Now I want you to really think about this. Understand this. At some point in Brinley's life, she's going to grow up. She'll be a woman, young woman, a middle-aged woman, an older woman, right? She's going to be there, and it'll be long after you and Corinne are gone. She's going to be talking about you and Corinne, but let's just stick with you. She's going to be talking about you to somebody who has never met you. She's just going to be describing the times she had with you, those moments, the things she remembers most. Okay. Is she going to be talking about the things of he was never there, he didn't do this? Or do you think she's going to be like, he was amazing, he encouraged me, he did this, etc.? What do you think? What do you think she's going to be doing?
Marty, you're not supposed to make me cry.
Christy said, see if you can make them cry.
um, oh, wow. I don't want to think like that. I really think I know she's gonna think of all the fun stuff that we've done, what I've done, and support her, and you know, what I've done, in her life, and um, what both Corinne and I have done for her, and the life that we've gave her and provided for her. Um, I just think she's always gonna remember that. I think will probably end up she's a smart ass, excuse me,
Yeah.
like me.
That's right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
she's gonna probably talk some smack about me traveling for work. But I mean, I
Yeah.
think, and I always tell her, I'm like, we were out this past week going to Dave and Buster's, and I had made a comment to her. I said, like, we're going to Dave and Buster's, like, I'm working to do this kind of stuff. Like, so she understands like the
Yeah.
concept of when I go and I travel, like, in order for us to go out and do this fun stuff, like, I have to work, I have to travel, that's my
Right.
job. I don't go to a school, I don't go to a doctor's office, I don't, this is my job. I travel to different states to go talk to different owner operators and
Yeah.
franchisees. So she understands my job. So I think she comprehends that part of it. Um, to a point, but I think she also understands, like, when I'm not there, I think she gets, it's sad and she's
Yeah.
upset that I'm not home.
Sure.
But I don't think that's, like I said, I try to make up for that when I am home. And I
Gotcha.
think that's what she'll remember the most of.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Great answer. And I'm spending most of my adult life with my adult children, ensuring that they'll talk nice about me.
Yeah.
So I'll make up for all of my mistakes. Right? All right. So again, Tim, thank you so very much. This has been absolutely amazing. I love having you on the show. You lived up and went beyond my expectations. This was a great episode. I think it was important that everyone hear the this whole idea of what fatherhood brings to us as leaders and what leadership brings it to us as fathers. So again, thank you very much. And for those of you who tuned in, if you tuned in too late, just give me a day or so to get the recording up, and it'll be on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, everything like that. Any place you listen to podcasts, look for Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. Also, it'll be up on the YouTube channel shortly as well. So Tim, thank you so much. And Brinley, if you're still up, good night. You should be in bed. You should have been in bed half an hour ago. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye bye, everybody.
Have a good night.